Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Crystal and I am back with another video. So in today's video I thought it would be nice just to share with you guys my first trimester symptoms and what it was like for me, being that I am now going to be a new mom. So I thought it would be interesting. I've seen a lot of videos like this done and I know everyone's perspective is different, so I thought I would just share my journey so far. Currently I'm in my second trimester, which of course I will do a video on that one as well, but for now we're just going to focus on the first trimester and my overall experience and my thoughts. So if you're interested in finding out these things with your girl, then I would highly suggest that you keep on watching. But before we get into the video, definitely subscribe if you are new to my channel. My name is Crystal and I do videos on practically everything you could think of. I do beauty, I do lifestyle, I do vlog a lot as well, so it's just like a whole melting pot for me. So if you're interested in that kind of content, then I will highly suggest that you subscribe to my channel. Make sure you hit the notification bell, which will give you an alert every time I post a new video. And without further ado, let's get into today's video. Alright, so I wrote a list here on my phone. Hopefully I covered everything, but this is basically the gist of everything that I need to talk about today. So obviously there were some good things about the first trimester as well as some bad things. So I wrote down two lists. I'm just gonna go through them one by one, probably briefly explain why I think it's a good or a bad, or some things just may not need an explanation. It's gonna be sort of a conversation, but basically just me kind of listing things that I experienced. If you're a new mom, or you just found out you're having a baby, or you just want to know what it's like, then basically this is kind of what I went through. I know everybody goes through different things, so we'll start with the good first. Number one, I have one of the good things of the first trimester. Obviously, it's amazing to find out that you're going to be a mom. It's amazing to find out that you're going to bring life into the world. It's very, very amazing as a female to even be able to have that privilege to do that. So it's very exciting. It's a great process, but of course, just like every other process, there are good and bad. Either way, you still have to deal with all of it. That's just the process, and you know, unfortunately we can't pick and choose what our symptoms are. It just happens. It depends on the baby, it depends on your body, on a bunch of different things. But for me, I thought one of the good things about it was that you take a little while to show in the first trimester. So I found out when I was 7 weeks already, when I went to the doctor, and my stomach basically looked the same as it did before. And that's a good thing, because obviously you can still, that takes me to my number two, you can still fit your regular clothes. Everything sort of seems like it's the same. Like the only difference is you're growing a human inside of you, but it takes a little while before you start to show. It's a lot easier to keep it a secret from people, you know, if you want to wait before you tell anyone, because everything in terms of clothing is the same. And for me, that was a bonus. I enjoyed those times of just still, you know, being as if everything is still how it was before, although I had this big little secret that I was keeping from family and friends. My number three, I actually didn't experience any nausea, or should I say vomiting. I did get queasiness, which is basically the feeling that you get when you want to throw up, which I'm sure some people will say is just as bad. But to be honest with you, it was mainly in the beginning I mainly got it in the morning, and then towards almost the end of the first trimester I started getting it even in the afternoon. I'm appreciative of the fact that I never threw up. I mean, the feeling, yes, you know, I could live without that, but it's a lot better considering what, like, things I've heard, stories I've heard from people about their pregnancies, videos I've seen. So I was very, very happy that I didn't personally have to experience throwing up my guts every 2 seconds because I know that can be very horrible. You can't keep any food down, so it becomes this whole big issue. But I did not have that experience, so morning sickness for me was not an issue. Also, in the beginning for me, I ate normal. There was nothing, there was no weird cravings. I was just, to me, I felt like I was eating regular, nothing out of the ordinary. And this is why sometimes it's hard for you to even pinpoint you're pregnant other than you taking a test, because everything basically is still the same, you know. Nothing really quite changes until like the end of the first trimester to the second. That's really, I feel like, when I saw most of the changes. Number 5 on my good list, I have great time to keep it a secret, which I kind of already mentioned that, but I enjoyed the fact that I didn't have to deal with the pressure of having to tell everyone that early. Me and my husband, we decided to wait up until a certain point because we just wanted to make sure everything was good. You know, I consulted with my doctor, and she basically said that most people wait up until the end of the first trimester around that time, because obviously you're more prone to miscarry around that time. So we just felt like we wanted to wait, and it was practically a great thing because although it was hard not being able to tell anyone as much as you want to share this exciting news, it gave me and my husband a time to bond, and it was basically just the two of us who knew. And we had so many conversations and so many decisions that we made up until that time, you know, just having conversations. We actually chose our baby names, and there was a lot of things that went on within that time frame of just me and him being the only ones who knew. So that was very great. It was amazing to just bond in that way, just the two of us, and decide on a lot of things. So basically when we shared everything with family and friends, you know, we had a lot of things already decided because we had the time to go through and do that. Into the things that I did not so much like, but of course things that I still had to deal with. So number 1 on my list is fatigue, which is the worst of the worst of the worst. I can't describe it any other way. That was horrendous for me, especially. That was one of the main things that made me take the pregnancy test, because I just was not myself. I was exhausted. It's really exhaustion. It was terrible. Although I was eating the same, although I looked the same, I did not feel the same. And as a woman, you know your body very well, and for me personally, I can tell when something's off. And even when I decided to take the test, my husband was a little skeptical because he thought that I was just overthinking everything, but I just knew that something was off. And for me, I do not, menstrually wise, I never have an issue. Like, there's not a month where my menstrual skips, or I have this or I have that. Like, it's sort of a breeze. She comes, she does her thing, she leaves, she shows up again. That was just the process, and I just knew instantly that something was wrong. I couldn't even get myself. At one point, I was in the kitchen and I was supposed to wash dishes, and I just did not have the strength to stand in front of the sink. It was just terrible. That takes me into my number 3. So we'll skip over number 2, but we'll come back. Takes me into the dizziness. I was dizzy constantly. I had a point where I was on the train coming from work, and I was already at my stop. My stop was coming up next, and I got up, and you know, sometimes you just think, okay, is probably because I got up too quickly, because you know my ride's about an hour, so you know when you're sitting and all of that for such a long time, and then you get up so abruptly, that could cause you to, you know, lose your balance a little bit. But that was just on a whole other level. Like, I literally got so dizzy that it felt like I was going to faint, and I haven't experienced anything like that since I was a teenager. So that was another thing. So with that and the fatigue, I was just out of it. I literally would come home and go straight into bed, and I didn't understand it, and I wanted to do things so bad, but I just did not have the energy. Like, my body was at that moment, which it just took over, and it was like, nope, you can't, you can't, no matter what I wanted to do, I just didn't have the energy. And I'm just happy that I followed my gut. I mean, went against my husband because he really didn't want me to take a pregnancy test, but I felt like it was necessary, so I did. And thank God I even had one on hand already. But I just, we know our bodies, so I just think it's important to pay attention to your body, because 99% of the time when something's going on, your body tells you, or at least gives you a sign to let you know that something's wrong. Going into my number 2, queasiness. No vomiting, but queasiness. So that's basically on my good and bad list, because it was good because there was no throwing up, but it was bad because the feeling of feeling like you have to throw up is just as bad, whether you're throwing up or not. And for me, I basically mainly got that in the morning, like I said, and it kind of prolonged some weeks after into during the day. But ginger sweets became my best friend, and that helped me so much. I actually don't get that queasiness feeling anymore now in the second trimester. I feel like that's died down a lot, but whenever I realized it would happen to me a lot when I first woke up in the morning. So like when your stomach is completely empty, you haven't had anything, water, you haven't had anything, and I would wake up and I would get that feeling instantly as soon as I woke up. So of course I would take my prenatal vitamins, and then I would eat, and then I would have the ginger candy. I actually bought two bags specifically, and I would just carry them with me in my bag wherever I went. So anytime the feeling decided to show up, randomly in the afternoon or whatever the case, I would just pop one of those ginger candies and all would be good. So that was one of my things that helped me so much. So if you're experiencing that or want to know what can help, definitely ginger is one of those things that's very, very soothing for things like that. Number 4, excessive urination. I mean, come on. It's just using the bathroom every 2 seconds. Before, obviously, because you don't have to be pregnant to know a lot of the things that happen when you're pregnant, because word gets around. There's Google, there's the internet, there's so many things, and you hear other people's experience. And I know urination was one of the main symptoms of pregnancy, but you don't realize to the extent that you have to go to the bathroom until you're actually in that experience yourself. Like, literally, you get the heaviest feeling in the world, like you have to pee a tank, and then you go to the bathroom and it's literally like a couple of drops, and you're like, are you kidding me? Like, that is what this was for. Like, I literally had to go to the bathroom for a few drops. Like, it makes no sense. And thankfully for me, at work, like, I'm literally across the hall from the bathroom, so it was such a convenience for me just to like go back and forth. But I would literally use the bathroom like, I can't even give you a number. It felt like your body, everything was just kind of going through your body so excessively quick. So by the time you would drink water, you would have to pee, and then something else you have to pee. I even found out, even when I wasn't really eating as much, I still had to pee, like frequently had to pee. And the hardest part for me was at nighttime, because I was just so thirsty. That goes to my number 6. That's also something on my list. I was extremely thirsty, like just way more thirsty than usual. So I was just constantly drinking. I think the first trimester I was drinking more than I was eating, and that just didn't help with me having to go to the bathroom. And I finally maybe once, a few times I had to get up in the middle of the night to use the bathroom, and it was just so annoying for me because I have to be up at 6. So on a weekday when I'm waking up at 3 in the morning to use the bathroom, then it takes me another half an hour to go back to sleep, then for me to wake up at 6 o'clock. It was just terrible. So what I started doing was I started limiting how much I drank once it got closer to bedtime, because sometimes you wouldn't even have that much, but at some point during the night your body like just had to pee, and you would get like, I would get this heavy bladder feeling, like really heavy, to the point where I could not sleep through it. Like I had to get up and use the bathroom. That's still happening even now in the second trimester. I constantly have to use the bathroom, but in the beginning I think it was sort of worse. Now it's kind of normalized a little bit. It's almost like you eat something or you drink a lot, okay, but I think in the beginning didn't even matter if you drank a lot or if you ate a lot. You just constantly had to use the bathroom. At least that's what I experienced. Number 5, sore boobs. My boobs felt like cannons. They felt like they were gonna explode at any moment. They were super sore. I also had this symptom before I found out I was pregnant, but that's also something I go through on my menstrual. When I was more in my teens, I would get a lot of cramps, but once I passed 25, I kind of stopped getting cramps altogether, and it transitioned into just my boobs being inflamed all the time. So literally I would get that feeling first, and I would know instantly that my menstrual was on the way. So when that started happening, I was late, but it started making me feel like, okay, maybe my menstrual is on its way, because I was getting my normal symptom. But little did I know there was a little munchkin cooking the entire time. But yeah, the sore boobs was terrible. I had to stop wearing all of my fancy bra sets, like my Savage X Fenty, all of the things that I appreciated and just loved wearing and all of that. They just became way too constricting. I hope that makes sense. That my boobs are so sore that I couldn't put any pressure on them. So like regular bras with the clips in the back and the straps and all of that, with the underwire, oh, I could not take underwire at all. Like my boobs were just way too sensitive. So thankfully I had a lot of sets from Savage X Fenty that were basically just the bralettes, which were the most comfortable thing in the entire world. And I to this day still can't wear a regular bra. Like I will try, but now in my second trimester my boobs are even bigger, so I can't take it. It's just too much pressure. So I still kind of only wear bralettes, and I'm very happy. I had a couple that really I use, but not nowhere as near as how much I use them now. So that's like my go-to thing at this moment, because underwire just I just could not take it. Number 6 was extra thirsty, but we already kind of dipped into that. The last thing I have on my list, keeping it a secret from everyone. That was one of the hardest things to do, because I just know how much joy it would bring to so many people, including my husband's family and my family, and specifically our mothers who have been dying for a grandkid for so long. And as much as you want to tell them, it was just a better decision just to wait and make sure everything was going good and all of that. So, but it was super hard not telling them. I mean, literally going to family stuff, and we literally had a family birthday for my husband's sister, and I am one of those people, I love tequila, and when there's shots involved, I am the first one present. And they were literally doing shots, and I'm sitting on the couch, and really I was trying my best not to make it obvious, but it's almost hard not to make it obvious, because something that you enjoy doing you no longer can do at this moment. They were literally having shots, and everyone's looking at me like, why am I not drinking? And you know that's like the #1 reason why people know you're not drinking is because you're pregnant, and I couldn't give it away. So I'm trying my best, you know, just not to show that there's any specific reason, but at the same time I know they're not gonna listen if I'm like, no, I'm not gonna drink today. So it was just super hard dodging that bullet, like, and my husband knew, but at the same time it's like we couldn't make it obvious, you know what I'm saying? Especially at a family birthday party when you're celebrating someone else, like you don't want to steal their shine. So that was definitely not the appropriate time to say anything. So it was just super hard to keep it from everyone, but at the same time it was easy because I wasn't showing, and I looked, you know, my stomach, my body looked the same. So it's like a good and bad, you know, like I mentioned. But this is basically everything I have on my list. I don't think I forgot anything, but for me, my first trimester basically consisted of all the things I mentioned. I mean, other than that, there was nothing else. The #1 thing for me was the exhaustion, the dizziness, the frequent urination, and the sore boobs. Those 4 things were just like every day, non-stop, and I just couldn't wait. I was doing so much research and reading, and that's one thing that happens. It's like you start going crazy and you start looking stuff up and all of this, and it's like I just kept reading that the second trimester is just such a breeze, and from where you start with the first trimester, the second trimester just is just so much better. So I will definitely make another video for you guys, telling you guys specifically about my second trimester, which I'm currently in now. At this very moment, I am currently 19 weeks. I will be 20 weeks on Monday, so I will do another video like this specifically surrounding my second trimester and basically my experience with that and how much different it was from my first trimester. But it's just so amazing, and I'm so excited. At this very moment, I officially know what me and my husband are having, but I'm not gonna ruin it for you guys. If you want to know whether we're having a boy or a girl, then I would definitely suggest that you follow me and my husband's channel. It is Christal and Lucas. I'm sure you can search it and find and you'll be able to find it, but I'll also put it at the end of the video, and you can just basically click that and it'll take you there. Make sure you subscribe because a lot of the baby fun stuff is gonna be done on that channel. Definitely give today's video a thumbs up if you enjoyed this little conversation with your girl. I'm so excited, and there's so much more to come, and we're basically halfway, so we do have a little bit more to go, but I am super excited for what's to come and the experiences and everything, and I just can't wait to meet my little bundle of joy. So yeah, I appreciate you guys so much for listening as always, and for sticking with me. If you are a returning subscriber, I appreciate you guys so much. Whoever has been with me from the time I started this channel, so I appreciate you guys so much. Stay tuned for my next video. Not really sure what it's going to be per se. It may be the second trimester video, or it may be a makeup tutorial. We'll see. I'm gonna surprise you, so make sure you're subscribed, make sure your post notification is turned on, so whatever it is, you don't miss out. Your girl has to go get ready at this point because I do have an event to go to. So I love you guys so much for watching as always, and I will see you guys on my next video. Bye guys.